Big Ten portal quarterback rankings from the transfer portal. So far, these are the ones we have committed. Dante Moore and Dillon Gabriel are going to Oregon. Kurtis Rourke, that's a typo there. I do apologize. He is from Ohio, going to Indiana. MJ Morris going to Maryland. Aidan Chiles to Michigan State. Max Brosmer and Logan Fife going to Minnesota. Will Rogers from Mississippi State. He is going to Washington. Athan Kaliak-Maris, internal conference transfer, like we were talking about, from Minnesota to Rutgers. And then Tyler Van Dyke, the Miami quarterback, is going to Wisconsin. So here's how this is going to work. I didn't give these guys any parameters to say most impactful, best, whatever. I just said, rank these quarterback additions. This can be for next year. This can be for the future. However these guys want to interpret it, we'll kind of do this how we've done before. We'll go with Justin first, then me, then we'll let Derek do his 1 and 2, then back to me. Justin can do his 2 and 3, back to me, kind of snake style there, and just kind of go as we please. So, Justin, we'll start with you. Who is your most impactful Big Ten portal quarterback transfer?
All right. This might be different than y'all's, we'll see. But I personally think just as far as impact to the team and with the situation they're in, Aidan Chiles. Reason being, Michigan State is in shambles right now. They lost not only their starting quarterback, but they also lost Levitt, who was, in my opinion, better than their starter, but he was a freshman, true freshman, or redshirt freshman, can't quite remember. But that guy was really going to be really good for them. Losing him and their starting quarterback left them in a terrible situation, and again in a transition situation they're in right now. And it's not looking up to be able to go out and get a guy of his caliber when he was recruited, especially, is just, it's big for them moving forward. And the quarterback position, of course, in transition year is the most important part of a team, and it's the most important thing to get right. As we saw in Nebraska, they got that completely wrong, but I digress. So I'll go ahead.
Dylan Raiola. It's all good.
Now, yeah. But last season, let's not forget that happened.
What happened then?
Jeff Sims? Yeah, but so Aidan Chiles, in my opinion, is my one.
Excellent. I'm going to go with Dillon Gabriel. I think that Oregon's really on a roll right now. I think they have a good chance of winning the Big Ten next year. And losing Bo Nix was a huge blow, but for them to get a proven commodity like Dillon Gabriel, and that's kind of what I'm looking at here. Proven guys who are going to come in and, we know that they have done a really good job. So for me, my number one, Dillon Gabriel. Derek, who's your number one?
Mine is Dillon Gabriel as well. I think that he's the guy that's gonna step into a program that's possibly ready to win right now and deliver a Heisman type caliber season.
For sure. All right, who's your number two?
Dillon Gabriel. I mean, I figured Dillon Gabriel, he was my one originally, but just looking at it as Oregon, is they're well established. They got talent across the board, but Dillon Gabriel, of course, is going to be necessary. They had to get a good guy in there to come in there and lead that team, because, of course, like you said, they're going to be very competitive next year as well. And losing a guy like Bo Nix can't be discounted. So, Dillon Gabriel, number two.
Mine, and I agree with that, is actually Dante Moore. Kind of hot takey here. I just think Oregon did a great job of setting themselves up for next year, and then getting a guy who had some experience this year who can sit and kind of learn the offense and that kind of stuff behind Dillon Gabriel. So I know I'm really Oregon heavy here at the top, but I love what Oregon did in the transfer portal. They identified what they needed and they went after it. So great job by them. Derek, who's your number two?
So my number two is Will Rogers. I think that Washington going and plucking a quarterback that has done the things that he's done in the SEC, and being able to replace Michael Penix with depth that they don't have at the quarterback position right now on their roster will help create continuity. They've started to build culture, like what we're talking about. I think that will help prevent them from being the next version of TCU, where you have a really great season, get to the national championship game, lose a lot of good players off that team, and then can't follow up with a good season next year. I think that's going to be a key piece to that team.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's stick with Derek. Derek, go ahead and give us your number three.
here, as much as I hate to say this, I'll give this one to Aidan Chiles. You know, I think that when we're talking about potential impactful players, that program's down so bad. Michigan State's down so bad right now. Being able to come up with a win here and get a starting quarterback that can be a difference maker on the team. I think that was a big win for that program. If Michigan's program wasn't in such, or Michigan State's program wasn't in such shambles right now, I might feel a little bit differently. But I feel like, as much as it pains me to put anything Michigan State related up towards the top of anything, I think that he's got a good chance at, even if it doesn't show up in wins and losses next year, at least impacting that program in a positive way.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great addition for them. I am going to go with what is it? I'm gonna go with Will Rogers as my number 3 for a lot of the same reasons. Derek said, you got Michael Penix Jr. heading out, bringing in a guy like Will Rogers who can come in, help things out. I hope Washington doesn't get too transfer portal heavy. I hope they do, or with the quarterback, I hope they do develop some guys. But if they feel like they have a guy who's ready but just not ready yet, this is a good addition by them. All right, Justin, give us your number 3.
Yeah, it's got to be Will Rogers. Again, same thing I'll mention. It's just it's the most important position to not only in college football, but like, just look at what Penix means to that team, and while you're not going to be able to replace Michael Penix, having somebody who can come in and at least shorten that gap of that fall off, and they're going to need that, because they're going to be recruiting and Will Rogers, again, going against higher level competition, is going to be huge for him coming in there, because going to the Big Ten schedule. So Washington coming into the Big Ten next year, they got the experience, they got a quarterback, and if they would have took too steep of a fall off, they would have fell into the arms race of the Big Ten most likely. So yeah, Will Rogers, huge for them.
Sweet. Who's your number 4 then, Justin?
My 4 is actually, oh my gosh, I just deleted Kurtis Rourke. I said Kurtis because you said
I had it written wrong.
because you put Kurtis on the thing, and I pasted the name.
All right, my bad.
No, I said it wrong. Kurtis Rourke, I know it's a little dicey putting him here, but 2022 MAC MVP, 2022 Offensive Player of the Year in the MAC, 69% his sophomore year, 3,256 yards, 25 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. I think them getting an improvement at the quarterback position is massive. And while he did play at a nothing school, still the looking at the film and looking at just a little bit I could find on him, he's a big body quarterback. He fits the prototypical size, and just an overall, I think, will be a solid addition.
I promise I'm not trying to copy you here, Justin, but he's actually my 4th as well. And a lot of those same reasons you guys are saying with Aidan Chiles, and pretty much the reason I have him above a guy like Aidan Chiles is because he actually does have 2 years of eligibility left. So not a lot of people realize that. So he's going to be able to be there for 2 years. And I just think he's more proven than Aidan Chiles. Not that I think Aidan Chiles can be bad, I'm not saying that, but he's proven, he's proven he can do it. I think it was like 2 years ago, the top 5 QBRs in the nation were something like, I know Kurtis Rourke was in there. He was number 4. And it was something like Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, I think it was Hendon Hooker, and the Jordan McLeod guy from James Madison, who Kirk Cignetti had. So he's actually a really good quarterback. I don't think a lot of people know about him, but some Big Ten people might. So really, really good pickup for IU. All right, Derek, who's your number 4?
My number 4 guy is Tyler Van Dyke. I think the way that Wisconsin's being built right now, they're going to have to go to the transfer portal as Luke Fickell continues to build that program. Being able to take a plug and play player like this that can come in and be a starter and be an upgrade over what Wisconsin has had historically at quarterback. Hopefully, I think that's a big step in what Luke Fickell is trying to build at Wisconsin. So as far as the impact that he can have as a 1-year transfer, I think he only has 1 year. I think he's already used 3 years of eligibility.
Yeah.
But I think that for where Wisconsin's trying to get to, that's going to be big for that program to be able to take an experienced guy and plug him in there.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Derek, who's your number 5?
So now, next I have Dante Moore. So I think that what you were talking about to put him at number 2, um, quite honestly, he should have committed there coming out of high school. I think that he realizes that. I think he knows that he's going here to develop for a year behind Dillon Gabriel, and then he'll have 1 to 2 years as the starter for Oregon. So I think Oregon did a good job hitting the transfer portal with quarterbacks here to not just plug and play, get a one and done guy, but to bring 2 potentially elite quarterbacks into their system. On with him being willing to transfer, knowing that he's not transferring to be the guy this year. I think that's impactful for Oregon, dangerous for all of us with Oregon coming into the Big Ten.
Yeah, for sure. I'm actually going to go a little off the board here. My number 5 is Athan Kaliakmanis. I know a lot of people are not into him and, see him as a very bad quarterback, and I get it. He was not great at Minnesota. However, I do see the physical attributes. I do see who Rutgers is. You look at Rutgers, and if they had a bit more of a competent passer, they could have been maybe another game or 2 winners this year. I mean, not a lot of people realize, but the reason Ohio State was able to pull away from Rutgers in that game was because of that pick 6, which, people can argue about what happened with the targeting call and all that stuff. But, I mean, if you had a little bit more of a competent passer, and he's more of a runner than I think people give him credit for. So I'm not trying to say Athan Kaliakmanis is any type of world beater or anything like that, or that he's this great player. But I do like the pickup from Rutgers. I like that they're not just staying, with Gavin Wimsatt and saying, okay, yeah, you're unable to pass the ball and we're going to stick with that or whatever. Greg Schiano is really trying to improve this program, and the offensive coordinator, which they got from Minnesota, did a really good job with Athan when he was at Minnesota. So kind of the reuniting there. So I like this pickup for Rutgers. I don't know if I think that Athan is a great player. I know he's not a great player, but I think that he's going to be good for Rutgers. And so that's why I'm there. Justin, who's your number 5?
MJ Morris. I think MJ Morris, because he fits the mold of what they already want there in a quarterback. He's more of a guy who's going to be, he can, the RPOs are his strength. He can throw the ball deep, but he's a guy, he averaged, I think, 6.5 yards a carry in high school. So I just think he fits exactly what they want to do. And for that reason, that's why I have him ranked a little higher. And I just think he's dynamic enough to be able to go in there and be able to, it's more so when you look at somebody's numbers, you try to look at the actual fit of the team they were on versus the team they're going to. And I just think it's going to play to his strengths more than anything. So
definitely a good replacement for Talia if he gets the starting job. So, all right, number 6, Justin.
My number 6 is Tyler Van Dyke. Again, we're touching on similar things. It's just a matter of that team, needing to go get their quarterback and find their system. And I think he's nothing crazy, but he's good enough to be able to come in there and establish a type of, at least get, he's not going to put them over the hump, but he's going to be able to kind of give them a little bit of success. And they're going to be able to see what kind of system they want to implement there and then kind of build off of that. But I think Tyler Van Dyke is limited in his ceiling, but I do think he's solid enough where he's going to be a great addition there. So.
Yeah, Van Dyke is my number 6 as well, and for a lot of the same reasons you said. I don't think he has the highest ceiling in the world, but I think he's a good pickup and something that Phil Longo can do with. And I don't know if they could have done better. So it's one of those situations where it's like you got a guy who's going to be good for you, who's going to make things happen for you. We'll see how it goes. And Phil Longo is really, really good with quarterbacks, so we'll see what he's able to do with them. All right, Derek, you're number 6.
Kurtis Rourke. So you guys were talking about a lot of things earlier with him coming from a MAC program and coming from a smaller school. I think it'll still be a couple years before Indiana really is threatening. at any level, especially with the new teams coming into the Big Ten. I think that's going to be more detrimental to their overall success. But with a new regime, being able to bring a new quarterback in with that, and sometimes you kind of see a similar type of a situation that could develop with Michael Penix going from Indiana to Washington, right? He was a good quarterback at Indiana, and went to Washington and should have been a Heisman Trophy winner. So sometimes you get some of those smaller school quarterbacks that move into a bigger program, and it might bring a little more surprise with it. But I think just being able to come in with a new regime and be part of leading that regime could end up having a decent impact for Indiana.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're on the right page there. All right, Derek, number 7.
Next, I have Kelly McManus. And the thing with him is he has Big Ten starting experience under his belt. He has Big Ten game experience under his belt. I thought he was a little underrated in general at Minnesota. I thought he was a pretty good thrower. His arm was pretty good, but being able to, when you can get starting experience, that's battle tested against the level of competition that you're going to be playing against, I think that's a win in the transfer portal.
Yeah, for sure. And I think he has better physicality than some people realize. So I think that's a good
Right.
pick. All right. I'll finally go with Aidan Chiles here at number 7. Like I said, I think he's good. I think it's a good fit with him and Jonathan Smith. I don't know if Michigan State was going to do better in this situation. But we haven't seen him a whole lot yet, so we'll see what happens. By no means do I think it's a bad pickup. I think all the other pickups in front of him were good too. So we'll see how it goes, but I like him at 7. All right, Justin, who's your number 7?
My number 7 is going to be finally Dante Moore. The reason Dante Moore is a little lower for me is the fact that, Dillon Gabriel going in there and the way the transfer portal works. Let me see if he makes it to the field before I throw him to the top of the list. So for that reason, he still has to go above some of these other guys. But just for that reason, tempering expectations a little bit until I see, if he makes it to the field. We're talking about impact to the team. Well, at least when I was thinking impact to the team and moving forward. So I put him here for that reason.
Yeah, no, I think that makes total sense. All right, number 8.
Oh, I am like completely just losing my train of thought. Kalikamakis, and I am not as a Kalikamakis. Why does he keep saying, dude? I've called him Kalikamakis for the longest time, and I hate mispronouncing names. I cannot get his right. But
hard one.
Similar to what y'all said, coming into the season, I did think he was a little underrated. But over the course of the season, I kind of found out that maybe I was wrong. I think he's a good thrower of the football. I just, he's on a Minnesota team that's not very good. I still see him as kind of, Big Ten leftovers, but we're so late on the list that I had to throw him in somewhere. So, yeah, I mean, nothing really at these guys. You're kind of throwing a dart, but like you said, proven Big Ten experience. He's been in close games. He won against Nebraska in the big QB battle, him versus Sims. So. Kalikamakis. I just think them landing him in with the experience and similar to what you were talking about earlier, just with proven game time and actual has played. I think he's just kind of the best shot they had, and they got him. So
Yep. All right, I will go with MJ Morris at number 8. I do think that he is a good fit, like you were talking about, Justin. I don't know where Maryland goes exactly from here. If it is with MJ Morris, great. Do I think they probably could have done better in the portal? Yeah, I think they probably could have. I think there were some better options out there. Honestly, I think they could have gone for Kyle McCord quite a bit and tried to get him. And so MJ Morris to me feels like Maryland went into the portal and they got their 5th or 6th guy. That's not trying to say that MJ's a bad player or anything like that. It's just not a name that pops. It's not one that, incites excitement or anything like that. So for me, I had it down at 8. Derek, who's your number 8?
I got MJ Morris in this spot too. So out of everyone that we've talked about on this list, that this is the first one that potentially could never start a game at Maryland, right? So I feel the same way, Jr. I feel like they went out and they got a depth player for their roster that can maybe compete and maybe come in surprise. What you were talking about earlier, Justin. They went and found a guy that fits their system with the things that fit within his skill set. You know, maybe if you would have got a better opportunity at NC State, maybe maybe I would feel a little bit different. But there's not a lot to see out of him yet at the college level, and you just saw how Maryland's next starting quarterback looked in the bowl game, and it was pretty good, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I think you're making a lot of sense there. So is it safe to say your number 9 and 10 are Brosmer and then Fife?
Yeah, Brosmer and then Fife. Yeah, I think at least, man, Minnesota's quarterback situation is gonna be in a tough spot. At least Brosmer comes in with a lot of college football experience. It's FCS experience, but he's played a lot of years of football and played in a lot of college football games. Fife, on the other hand, that one kind of surprises me because he's only got a handful of games that he's played in under his belt at Fresno State, who's been a Division II powerhouse the last few years. But still, it's not. There's not really like a body of work that gives me any type of feeling about that one.
Right. And plus, he's coming in behind Brosmer. I mean, I think it's pretty evident Brosmer's the starter here, and Fife is kind of just like a depth piece behind him. Yeah, I had the same thing. I had Brosmer and then Fife. I don't know. It's not that I think Brosmer is a bad player by any means. I mean, the guy threw for nearly 3,500 yards last year at NFCS at New Hampshire. So obviously, this guy can throw the ball. I don't know what PJ Fleck is doing, right? You have this really, really good running back and Darius Taylor, who's going to be there next year. And you're going in and getting a guy who threw over 450 passes last year at the FCS level. Like, is he trying to find Cam Ward? Is he trying? I don't really know what PJ Fleck is doing here. Maybe he's cooking something up where it's going to be amazing and it's going to be something that we've never seen before. More power to you, PJ. But it seems like he just went out there and kind of got some guy that he felt like could throw the ball around, and he's hoping that'll make it happen when they're not handing it off to Darius Taylor next year. And then Fife, kind of the same thing I said with Derek. Just kind of the player behind Brosmer depth piece. So is it safe to say you have it the same way, Justin?
Yeah, you can pencil me in for that.
Yep.
Yeah, PJ Fleck, he's lost at sea with his tight pants on right now, rowing his boat somewhere. And I don't even think he knows where he's going. So, he lost my number 8 to land 9 and 10. That's all you need to say about PJ Fleck right now.
Right.
Know where Minnesota's at. So.
Yep, it's an interesting one for sure. So those are our QB Big Ten portal rankings for the QB additions so far. Still some QBs out there. There's a lot of rumblings about Will Howard possibly going to USC or Ohio State. So that's very interesting to see which Big Ten team he would go to. If I had to pencil him in, I might put him somewhere in the top 3, maybe 2 or 3, bump one of those guys down. Just because it looks like Ohio State really, really needs a quarterback. I don't think I'm putting him over Dillon Gabriel, though. You guys have any thoughts where you would put Will Howard if he goes to Ohio State or USC?
Probably behind Dillon.
So number 3 for you.
Yeah.
Eric, you have any thoughts?
I'd probably put him behind Will Rogers.
Yeah, number 3. Makes sense. So,
yep.
So we'll see what happens there.
Where did you put Dylan Raiola? I just want to talk about the good news. No, it's fine.
Can we basically call him a transfer portal?
Yeah, just slide to recruiting.
Hey, if we're talking about Aidan Chiles at number 1, Dylan Raiola is above him, if you ask me.
Yeah, exactly. It fits the philosophy of my rankings. When I'm talking about Aidan Chiles, I'm talking about and I'm factoring in the fact that Oregon, the difference between them landing Dillon Gabriel and another quarterback with their talent is they'll still be really good. Michigan State needed this, and it looks good on them, not only in a recruiting sense, but that people are going to want to come play with a quarterback like him if he can show out. And
yeah. And like I said, it's kind of different for everybody. You know,
exactly.
We kind of all went out at different angles. So
that's why I like this, the way you drew it up and just send it out, just like rank them. No criteria, so we can each put our little own spin on it.
Yeah, and it's good conversation. So, all right. Well, hey, thanks for listening to the Big Ten Huddle. Please do like and subscribe. We appreciate that. If this was your first time listening, we are the Big Ten Huddle. We cover all things Big Ten football and basketball. We have a long episode every Sunday, Tuesday, and Wednesday night, all at 9 o'clock. So come in, check us out, get in the chat, let us know what you're thinking. We would love to have you join us and learn more about the Big Ten.